bring you your next favorite band.
Thanks for having us. This is a very cool show.
Good evening, David.
Good evening, Philip.
How are you doing? I'm doing fantastic.
Good.
I'm doing even better now because not only are we here once again,
one more time
for a tweener, something that's going to go between our two artist interviews. So we're doing something new and exciting. How about that?
I think we should continue to stretch ourselves.
We certainly should. Be comfortable getting uncomfortable. But the good news is I'm comfortable. I got a very comfy shirt on. We're going to talk about that later. But tonight what we have is a very special two guests from the organization called Lehigh Valley Girls Rock. And we're going to obviously learn more about their organization, their mission, what they have to offer our community. And it is an international organization. So even if you're listening not around the Lehigh Valley, there most likely is something nearby that also is in the same kind of mission.
Correct. This gives you a sort of a snapshot of what the programming from this international organization does.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we have someone who is a board member who's also very involved, obviously, in the entire running of the whole organization. And then we have someone who has been a part of it, someone who has learned and participated, and I believe has even graduated out of it, and now is a musician herself. So, kind of fun. We have they write a theme song every year. So this is from 2020. And it kind of is a very cool little thing that they do where they kind of write it, and it gives a little bit of kind of like the feel of what they're trying to do for the camp and in general. And it just is performed by some of the students. So it kind of is a good entree into things. So here is the theme song to Lehigh Valley Girls Rock Camp.
We show up as we are. We are enough. We don't care what you think. We're here to stay. We can be ourselves. We raise our voice. We made our own space. We belong in this place. It's okay to make mistakes. No sorries, no fears. We're learning together, growing every day. We can be ourselves. We raise our voice. We made our own space. We belong in this place.
Lehigh Valley Girls Rock is dedicated to empowering girls, women, and non-binary trans folks through music and art. LVGR is run by dedicated volunteers from the Lehigh Valley. Their team is comprised of musicians, artists, educators, parents, and all-around amazing people who are dedicated to making a difference in the lives of youth and adults who may experience marginalization because of their gender.
How perfectly timed was that? It's almost like we meant it.
So many rehearsals.
Absolutely. Well done, David. Well, welcome to the show, Jennifer Alpha and Jolie Lanning.
Hello, thank you for having us.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, absolutely. No, we're honored to have you. So anything to share just off the top there with the theme song? Is that something that's, you said it started in 2019, I believe, and is it different every year?
It's not different every year, but so we had a theme song way back in 2014-15. There was a theme song. It was originally written by some of the founders and original volunteers of the organization, and we decided for our 5th anniversary, I think it was, that we would revamp the theme song and create something new. And so with the help of a bunch of volunteers, we redid the theme song, and we really wanted the theme song to kind of be an example of what we're about and our mission, and like kind of incorporate all the little mantras that we use at camp, like no sorries, show up as you are, like things like that. And so those kinds of concepts are really important to us. And so we got this theme song, the kids learn it at camp, and then it's the finale. It's the big finale for the showcase every year.
Terrific. Yeah.
What a wonderful way to end things.
Certainly. And before we get into the camp, let's stick even just with the beginnings of the organization and some of the more maybe high-level mission, because it's not just about raising awareness or teaching music. It's empowerment. It's healthy self-image. It's embracing who you are and not letting somebody kind of tear that down or make it feel less than what it is. So if you don't mind, maybe touching on a little bit of all of that, and then also like where the organization started.
Absolutely. Yeah. So our organization is really an empowerment organization that's built on music and art. And so we use music and art as a vehicle, but we don't promote ourselves as like a music organization per se. Music is a really, really important part of what we do, but really the ultimate goal is to offer opportunities for empowerment, places that are positive and uplifting. And so LVGR started way back in 2013 is when it was originally incorporated. Two local musicians, Felicia and Kelsey, our founders, had been playing music together, and they were out at a show with some other bands, and another band was talking about this girls rock organization that was local in their community. And Felicia and Kelsey said, "Oh my God, that's so cool. We need that here. Like there aren't enough like girls in music in the Lehigh Valley." And this other band said, "Then do it, like start an organization." And they were like, "Oh, we can do that? We can do that. We can totally do that." And so Felicia and Kelsey, they're amazing. They're my heroes. And so they got these volunteers together, and for really the majority of the life of LVGR, it has always been volunteer run, nearly 100%. The last few years, we have been able to have paid staff at a very small level. But for the most part, this organization runs on volunteers. And that in itself, to me, is amazing. I think it's a real testament to the value of the organization.
Absolutely. And how people are passionate about it.
Absolutely, yeah. And so the first rock camp was for kids was in 2014. And then from that, the programs have grown over the years. Obviously, COVID has kind of put a crimp in our plans.
Certainly.
So the last 2 years we haven't done as much, but we do have an adult program that is similar to the kids program. It's just done over a weekend. We have we had a pilot after school program in 2019 that we hope to get off the ground as a real program in the future. We do other types of community activities, workshops, and we have a summer music, like one night festival that showcases marginalized musicians. So there's a lot that we do in the community. It's not just camp, but camp is our like flagship program.
Certainly. And it's important, I think, to note in the evolution of things for, who's allowed to participate is it is for women, girls, transgender, and non-binary. So any one of those, like you said, marginalized genders who want to be a part of it, they're welcome.
That's right. Yes.
Sure. Yeah. And you were involved very early on. So like, if I understand it right, the first year you volunteered was that second year of its existence was 2014. And then you even participated in the adult version of it.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I volunteered just on a really low level in 2014. I helped out at the showcase. And then in 2015 was the first year of the adult program called Let's Rock. And it's the same program as the youth camp, but we crunch it into just 3 days. Start Friday night, you're done by Sunday night. And it's the same kind of concept of learn an instrument, form a band, play a show, go to workshops, feel great about yourself. And I had never played bass before, and I decided, and it's something I always wanted to do. And so I was like, I'm going to do this thing. And it happened to be happening at a time when I was caring for my mom who was on hospice. And I really was like, how can this seems wrong to be taking this time for myself, but I did it. And absolutely, I still maintain that it was one of the best things I've ever done for myself.
I can absolutely understand
that. I learned so much about myself that weekend. I made so many amazing friends, and to the point that the drummer that was in my band that weekend, we now are in a band together that I am in with another friend that I met through LVGR, and that friend brought to our band somebody who his name is Oliver, and we started hanging out a lot, and now we actually are married. And so I like to say I met my husband because of LVGR.
Sure. And it, like you said earlier, like you mentioned, that it really changed everything for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Your confidence in things, I'm saying that's so very cool. Like, what a great testimonial for what it can provide for someone. Yeah. And so David is also a bassist, and you mentioned a drummer. And speaking of drummers, we have Jolie. And forgive me if you play a lot of other instruments too, but I saw you be a drummer. So maybe, Jolie, if you could tell us a little bit about yourself, and then also what you've experienced with the organization, either the camps or anything else that you've been a part of.
Yeah, sure. Well, I used to be a camper. I think I did camp for maybe like 3 or 4 years, and I also did when they tried out that after school program that Jen mentioned. I was a part of that as well. Now I'm in college, so I'm too old. But this summer, I've been on like the volunteer recruitment team. So I've been helping with putting up posters and like finding events for us to go table and spread the word and hopefully find different volunteers and campers. I guess like musically, what was so awesome about when I first did camp was like I was interested in playing the drums. My grandfather, my dad, and my stepdad are all drummers, and I was like, I want to do this, but I rarely saw female drummers.
Sure.
It was usually all guys, and the only time I had ever seen a female drummer was I went to the Go-Go's farewell tour.
Which wasn't as much a farewell as they claim it was, as they're now back in business, right?
But
you can go see them again.
Yeah, and that was the first time I was like, wow, that is a woman playing the drums in a very popular band. I want to be like that. But it was kind of discouraging for me because I was like, I wasn't taking lessons, so I didn't know any like music theory or like how to read music.
Sure.
But then I came to camp, and when you have like part of camp is you have music lessons. And so during my drum lessons, it was all just like following along, like watching someone play a beat, and then you would play it back. And so now like that's just how I learned to play. And I was like, wait a minute, I can't be a drummer and I don't need to know all of this stuff. And I can just go off of my intuition. So, it gave me that confidence. But then also just in general, like in school, I was not very popular. And I also went to Catholic school. So a lot of the things that you talk about in camp, like aren't really talked about in that environment.
Sure.
So it was really the first time I was exposed to like these ideas that like I can make a space for myself and I am important and I should care for myself, and also things with the LGBT plus community and talking about like racism and things at such a young age is really important. So I feel like without camp I probably wouldn't be the same person I am now. I honestly wish I could go because this year I was really like challenged in terms of mental health things, and like being at camp is just such a positive experience the entire time you're there. And sometimes I have to remind myself like there are little things that they teach you in camp that you remember even when you're too old to do it, like the no sorries. We have one I like a lot called be a croissant, not a bagel, which means basically like being open-minded to trying new things. So yeah.
That is excellent. Again, wonderful testimonial for what the organization offers. And like, I think what you said there is huge. Like, there's so many instances of like, if you just don't see something like in the world that looks like you, then you're just never going to think that that's a path that's for you, even if it's what you're really passionate about. And so I think that's what makes this organization so important, because it's putting two things. It's putting that person in the space where they can see that, yes, I can be a drummer, a lead guitarist, the lead singer, and not have to be sorry about it.
The bassist.
A bassist, sure.
Let's make sure we get the important instruments listed every time.
That was a test. I was seeing which one of you were going to speak up.
Fair enough.
But
I do dabble in bass as well, David. Just so you know.
I'm totally
guitar.
outnumbered now. It's 3-0.
Spreading the greatness.
I
mean, I play guitar too because somebody in the band has to help out the guitar player.
And I think the other thing that makes it important is when you guys perform, then it allows a male to see that as that's normal now too, so that they don't think, if they're younger and they don't think that's now not something that's supposed to be, then they won't think that way either. So I think it's a very valuable lesson for both sides, or multiple sides, not even just two. It's very important from all the perspectives. So let's talk about the camp. Let's make sure we get that information out there. The specifics around it, because there are still some openings for this year. And so let's talk about maybe what it has available, what the dates are. And while you're chatting, we'll bring up the website so people can kind of see where it would be, where they could kind of go to.
Yeah. So our camp this year is July 18th to the 23rd. And it is a day camp. So it's, 9-ish to 4-ish every day. The times are on the schedule. I'm terrible at remembering the exact times things start.
It looks like it's July 18th through the 23rd.
Yes, 18th to the 23rd. Day camp. It's Monday through Friday. Kids come. They don't need any musical experience at all. We will teach them everything they need to know. They learn to play an instrument. They get to rank which instruments they'd like to play, and we try to give everybody their first choice. It doesn't always happen, but we try. They form a band. They get to write an original song together. They get to do things like create logos for their band. They screen print T-shirts.
That's so cool.
They get to do. They have a songwriting workshop and stage presence workshop. So lots of things about being in a band, but they also attend 9 educational workshops throughout the week. And they include things like self-care, social justice, and other kind of art opportunities. And so those 9 workshops are spread across the week. And of course we have other activities, and we have bands that come in and play at lunchtime. And
that's awesome.
Yeah. So it's a really fun, uplifting environment, and absolutely the volunteers have just as much fun as the campers. I think
I can imagine.
Yeah, every volunteer has always said that it's their favorite thing that they do with their time.
And here's a page about volunteering on the site too. So if
We're
you go to
looking for-
lvgirlsrock.org, all of this information is there. And we'll link to it in the show notes for this, but I just kind of wanted to show what's here. And the other important part is donations.
Yes.
So if you're not going to participate either as someone who's registering for the camp or volunteering for the camp, there is always the ability for individuals and corporations to donate and support, the efforts of what you guys are doing.
Absolutely. We obviously are very grateful for donations. As I mentioned, we are a completely volunteer-run organization, and we rely a lot on community donations. We have a monthly donor program as well, where if you don't feel you can make a large donation at once, you can sign up for our Keep the Beat program, where you can donate, $5 a month for the course of the year or something like that.
And those are huge too, because then you would have the ability to count on that revenue.
Exactly.
And so sometimes the sustaining smaller amounts are more powerful than the larger, or equally as powerful, let's say.
Absolutely, 100%. And the one thing I want to mention about camp is the big showcase that happens at the end of the week, because that's really what I think makes the kids feel like rock stars, the rock stars they are.
Exactly.
And so that Saturday after camp, that evening, we have a showcase where the kids come, they perform their original song. We have makeup artists for the kids who want to get glammed up. It's at the Ice House in Bethlehem. It's a cool space.
Yes,
very
definitely.
cool space.
Very cool space. And then where this
that show is open to the public, so anybody can come out to that. It's,
very cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this year that's on the 23rd. That's the last day.
Correct.
Yep.
Yeah.
July
Awesome.
23rd. We should put the month on there.
Sure.
Let's not assume anything.
Right. And then off of that, Jolie, your participation has even led you to meet other performers. And this takes us to Musikfest last year for me, is when I was even introduced to the organization, which was, I was disappointed in myself for never having heard of the organization or the mission. But here's the cool part about what you did is that day of you having that opportunity that you seized to go and perform then made me aware of the organization and kind of had me looking into it and that kind of stuff. So if you don't mind, talk to me a little bit about how you kind of met these other performers, in particular Slingshot Dakota, who I'm a huge Slingy D fan. But that's who you performed with. You actually got Tom up and out of the kit and you took over for him. And after you talk about it a little bit, we actually have some of the recording from last year to play for everybody.
Yeah, sure. So I became friends with Tom and Carly from Slingy D because I used to go to their shows all the time. I was like obsessed with them in middle school.
Oh yeah.
And I think Tom's parents were at a show and they saw me in the crowd like imitating what he was doing and like playing along to the songs. And so then they told him about it and then they came up to me afterwards and we talked a little bit. But then it was really Girls Rock that like solidified our relationship with each other because like, you know, they knew about me and I would come see their shows whenever they would play locally.
Sure.
But then they came up with this idea with Girls Rock, like what if we had Jolie play one of our songs with us and then we can also have it be a fundraiser for Girls Rock as well. And I think all the bands that played at that first show I played at, it was at Arts Quest. I think it was all like female artists or like female fronted bands. And so that was the first time I got to play with them. And that was really special because then I would go over to their house and practice with them. And I just got to know them.
Certainly.
They're just like the sweetest people.
They totally
ever.
are. Yeah.
They are so nice. Like you could just walk up to them and say hi and they would just have a conversation with you and love it.
They're
just the loveliest people. And like, even though like I've been in some bands, like the first year I did camp, I played the drums and my band stuck together for a little bit because then we were given the opportunity to open for Diet Sig at the Chameleon Club, RIP. And that was really awesome. But like after that, we didn't stay together for very much longer. So like, I haven't really been able to consistently be in a band for a while, but like I always know that I can count on playing with them at least once or twice.
That's so cool.
During the year. So it's really nice to be able to have that and have that friendship with them.
And I think too, this is just such a huge praise for you. Is anybody who knows Slingshot Dakota knows that Tom is one of the most like he is blowing up his kit while he's playing, and so for you to keep up with something like that. That's a legitimate high-end drummer like this. and here's absolutely, and here's the proof of it. Like, here's you and Carly playing some Slingshot Dakota at Musikfest last summer.
You feel so beautiful.
I'm so sorry I didn't get more of that.
It's okay.
Especially like the huge breakdown moment. That would have been super cool to have, but
it's fine. Maybe I'll post it on YouTube.
Oh, that would be cool.
At some point.
Yeah, because we can link it here or we can kind of share it on like either Twitter or Facebook or something too. If you have it, that would be super cool. But yeah, I mean, kudos to you and hope you find a band because clearly you've got a boatload of talent.
Thank you. If anybody's looking for a drummer and wants to make music, specifically rock or like post-punk or something, that's what I'm into, so hit me up.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, no,
Let's make that happen.
That's definitely make that happen. That will be another mission that we'll be on, is to find a band for Jolie.
And then we can have her band on as a
band.
That will be a future podcast.
Future favorite band for people to be listening to.
That's really seeding on this one. We're really setting things up.
Well, you wait. It's going to happen. We manifest this stuff and put it out in the universe. it's gonna make its dreams come true. So
And it'll be amazing because everything Jolie's ever done has been just so good. That first band that she was in her first year, I actually was Jolie's band mentor her first year.
very
I call
cool.
Jen my rock mom.
So I have a little soft spot for Jolie, but her first band, Spaces Crunchy, was amazing and went on to do the show with Diet Sig. They recorded songs at Shards. The songs are great. I still listen to the CD.
So cool.
And then for our after school program, they formed a band called No Nukes, and they performed. They opened for Start Making Sense, the Talking Heads tribute band.
Yes, absolutely.
At Musikfest Cafe. And in that band, Jolene was the singer. And so it was super, super great. I mean, the songs, I recorded them on my phone at practices, and I still listen to them sometimes. I was like, we'll be in the car, and I'll be like, oh, Oliver, let's put on that one song from No Nukes.
Yeah, and so you've got like bootleg versions of these things that'll come out once she's super famous.
You just wait for that eBay listing to show up.
Exactly. Yeah, some sort of MP3 flash drive.
Yeah. There's a bunch of people like with CDs from the Spaces Crunchy show at the Chameleon Club. I wonder if those people still have them.
I hope so. Cool. Well, what anything else you would want to promote for the organization? Because I think there's the potential for people to think it's just about the camp, and you mentioned the adult weekends. What else is there that maybe they do throughout the year?
That will also be very important because of the pandemic. We have suffered greatly financially, as you can imagine.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But we are still here and we're still hanging on. And so we're ready to get back in it and go. We were in a really great growth mode right before COVID. And so that's why COVID was especially devastating for our organization, because we had really just been ramping up our programs. We had just started the after school pilot, and we had to just cut it all. And so over the next year, we're going to be doing some strategic planning, and kind of like thinking about where we want to take things next. But we definitely want to do Band Factory again. We definitely want to do the adult program in the spring again. So again, Jolie's I know she's going to sign up for that. So we're hoping to do that again in the spring. So those are things to look out for from LVPR.
Certainly. And I guess what I'm hearing there, the most important part right now is anything anybody could do to help with the funding, the donations and that kind of stuff. And again, there's individuals and then there's corporations who have this type of, funds to be able to be deployed. They just have to know where to put it. So hopefully opportunities like this to raise awareness about what you guys are doing and the important, message that you're able to send to, girls and transgender and non-binary individuals who are looking for a pathway to empowerment and awareness on music. I think that this is such a great thing. So that's why I'm so honored to have you guys on today, sharing your story, sharing your wonderful testimonials, and just can't thank you enough for coming on, and hope that we can bring some more awareness, not only just in the Lehigh Valley, but across where anybody was wanting to listen.
Absolutely. Yeah. And this is an international movement. So if you're listening outside the Lehigh Valley, you probably have a Girls Rock organization near you.
That's true. Throughout the United States and international. And we do have 4 downloads in Germany. So for those of you listening in Germany, there's probably a Girls Rock organization there too.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Big fans in Germany. Anyway, thank you so much, Jennifer. Thank you, Jolie. If you guys want to hang on through the closing here, we'll just say goodbye on the other side. But thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
It was great talking to both of you.
Yeah, it was so nice to meet you both.
You too.
David?
Philip.
We continue to meet such outstanding, wonderful people.
It's wonderful. In this case, people are always putting good out in the world. We're talking to artists, but this is people helping to create art and create empowerment and do things that make me feel good.
Yes, absolutely.
And it seems so simple, doesn't it?
It really does. You all you have to do is try a little bit, create a safe space for somebody, let them be themselves, and off to the races at that point.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So highly recommend checking out, and if you are interested in registering, either as a camper or the parent of one, the website is there, and then there's plenty of people to reach out to if you just want more information on how it works or what have you. So a lot of information will be in the show notes here, and then we'll be tagging into their social media, their website, and so let's say goodbye, David.
Goodbye, David.
All right, Phil, let's say goodbye to everybody.
Thank you so much to Jennifer Alpha and Jolie Lanning for joining us today and telling us all about Lehigh Valley Girls Rock, their mission, their story from their history, and their camp that they offer every July. It's coming up on the 18th through the 23rd, and you still have the opportunity to register. So if you go to their website, that you'd be able to learn more about how it works and the different elements to that. And just again, thank you for all that you do in making the world a better place. Other than that, we also have the July interviews with Aubrey Haddard and the Arcadian Wild. And obviously, this is a third concert we could all go to. The culmination of the Lehigh Valley Girls Rock Summer Camp will be on the 23rd, so we can go see that one. It's 3 straight weeks. We're all going to see each out there at live shows. Thank you again to David, to Lehigh Valley Girls Rock, and to all of you for tuning in. Hope to see you at a live show soon.
It's all over now.